Yeah, that's an interesting question. So yes and no. I because that's the church I went to was non-denominational and was considered an evangelical church, which it, can I just say that spam calls are dangerous? I hate spam calls. I think what they did when I was a kid wasn't necessarily dangerous in the traditional sense of the word, but it was potentially harmful emotionally to younger. So is evangelizing from a believer to a non-believer potentially harmful? Yes, I think it can be. I think there's a lot of evidence where there's a guy on TikTok I just ran across who's a former pastor and was talking about how churches tend to love bomb their new guests. And, you know, those guests, if they were never religious before in their life, are probably going through something and they're looking for answers for something that's going wrong in their life. So they're already sort of on their heels with something in their life, whether it's a medical thing, a financial thing, divorce, whatever it is. They're looking for, I feel lost and I don't want to be lost anymore. And then they go in and they get love bombed and there's this dopamine hit that they get. And it's like, oh my gosh, for the first time, I feel like I belong to something. And they're equating that to a God when that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with a God. That's just all of that group of people acting in a way that they were told to act. Is that bad? I don't know. Like, I guess it would depend on the final outcome. If that person went from, you know, doing terrible things on the streets and, you know, all sorts of things that they're putting into their bodies and doing things that were harmful to themselves or others, and then they end up going to this place and they completely turn their lives around through this love bombing stuff, and they're not necessarily adhering to the seedier sides of religion, but they become a more upstanding citizen because of it, then no, it wasn't harmful. But I think it's a case by case basis. If that makes sense.
I think it made sense to me. Did that answer your question, though, Philly?
Yeah, I'm tracking. I'm following.
And I am glad to see Hasselblad on the show.
I know. You know why
What's
he's
up,
up
son?
here. You know who was right before him. Someone who believed the Earth was flat. But how you doing, Cyber?
I am good. I have a kitten over here trying to monopolize my time now that I hop on the phone. Wait, who's the flat earther? Who used to be a flat earther?
Oh, they're gone now. Well, they're in the chat.
Oh, okay.
But that led to us questioning Hassel about his religious background.
This morning, because I just woke up, and I saw that Hasselblad was here. I'm like, oh, this will be interesting. I know he's not a theist, but I'm interested. But if a flurfer was up here, that makes sense.
Yeah, we had one a minute ago, but I used it as a perfect excuse to lure Hassel up here so I could question him about his lack of belief in a god.
This is true. I have a question. Something that I had mentioned a few months ago in chat. But Hasselblad, what's it going to take for you to start teaching photography classes over Discord?
I have often said I should give a photo class for flirfs, because I think in some cases it would change a lot of stuff. Cyber, if you're actually serious, we can make that happen.
I actually kind of am. Photography has always been one of those things that I've kind of wanted to do as kind of like a side hobby type thing. I just have no idea like where to begin other than go buy a camera, point and shoot.
I gave this is a couple of years ago, so maybe at the time she was 12, gave my daughter my old camera gear. That's still pretty high-end professional gear. It was just like 10 years old at that point. And I sat her down. I gave her 2 lessons. It was maybe over the course of a total of like an hour and a half over 2 days. And those 2 lessons, she completely understood it and was able to recite it back to me. So it's not hard, like, to learn the mechanics. What's hard is to, it's like Bob Ross trying to teach someone to paint through the TV. It isn't necessarily hard to do what he's doing, but is that person going to become Michelangelo? Probably not. That's the hard part, is the Michelangelo part.
That makes sense. Well, I'll hit you up and
I can even send you my phone number, and we can FaceTime or call or whatever. Doesn't matter. We can do Discord. We can do TikTok. I can start a live, and the mechanics is really, really easy. You'll grab it in less than a half hour. It's not that hard.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. But on topic, I guess since you're being questioned about your lack of faith, do you think that we as a society are better when we believe and teach, or teach and believe in true things?
I think that also depends. I think it's a gross generalization. I think as a child, I think children are at their best when they're using their imagination, and when you're using your imagination, 9 times out of 10 is for untrue things, like Superman is the best, and blah, blah, blah. Well, obviously that's untrue. Or I'm a dinosaur. Okay, cool. I think as we get older, we lose some of that childlike wonderment, and lose that ability to think in ways that would help us come to a different solution quicker. But I also know that isn't the intent of your question. I think it depends on specifically what you're talking about. I think imagination is a good thing. I think truth is a world where using truth and your imagination at the same time to solve a problem can be a good thing. So I don't know. I probably skirted around the point of your question, though. Slightly intentionally, slightly not.
No, that answers. I appreciate it. That answers.
Yeah, like I think as far as it pertains to religion, as I said earlier, I think there are some places teaching religion that do it in a way that make people better. And it isn't necessarily about all of the bad parts, holding people down, blah, blah, blah. You go to bed with this person, you're bad. you decided not to have a baby, you're bad. Like those are terrible parts of religion. I think if believing in a God makes you a better person in every way that's measurable, then I don't think that's a bad thing. But like I said, I think it's a case by case basis. And to that end, I also think that for some people, believing in Superman can make them a better person. Like maybe they decide to emulate the best qualities of Superman. And that's their target. They need a target, a guiding light to help remind themselves of who they want to be and what they're trying to be. If that is what's going on, great. I think that's fine. If it becomes more of an ego thing and what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe I need more coffee. If it becomes a way, if that guiding light is a way for you to show that you're the best and better than everybody else, then yeah, that's crap and harmful.
If I'm understanding, I mean, mostly what you're saying is that faith, as a means to self-improvement, as a means to societal betterment, is fine. Filling in gaps where we don't know, or the behavioral enforcement sides of it. That's when it becomes dangerous.
You steel man better than a flat earther. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Appreciate it.
So, what does a globe look like on the non-theist? Like, what does that model look like?
Are you being facetious? Or are you actually?
I'm being facetious. I'm being facetious. Mainly just because, for those, probably everybody here knows, Hasselblad is heavy in the flurf debates, and one thing that I've noticed with the flurf debates are they're never up there to like show their side. They're just there to look at globe earthers and say nuh-uh. That's all they do. And whenever you just be like, can you just explain to me your model? Like, how does your model work? One of them will try to attempt to, if they even can. Most of them can't. But as soon as he even tries to explain it, he's going to use some term that another flat earther doesn't like, and they'll start fighting. Because somebody used a term that the other one didn't like. And it's just hilarious. And they can never explain a model. It's just something that really makes me laugh.
Nuh-uh.
Nuh-uh.
You have talked to flirfs before.
At one point.
Nuh-uh. So my ex-wife's uncle works for Thiokol. Well, used to. He's retired now. And Thiokol does a lot of the engines. They build a lot of the engines for NASA. And so back in 2016, I don't remember which engine it was, but we wanted to go and watch one of their tests for their one of these huge motors or engines. I don't know what the term is, but we're like 3 miles away, and it still felt like we were sitting too close to a campfire, and we're like 3 miles away.
Yeah, I live about 2 hours away from Cape Canaveral. There's a reason why the exclusion zone during a rocket launch is 5 miles.
Mm-hmm. But I bring that up. I was hopped up on a debate, and somebody was like trying to be like, no, that's not for any of the, because I believe it was for Artemis. They were doing testing for Artemis. I think that's what was going on. And like, no. That's how they're moving those weather balloons around. I'm like, I think it would pop them. Guess so hot it would pop them.
Yeah. They love to deny everything.
Mm-hmm.
If some god presented itself in a way that had verified its existence to you, would you worship it just for existing?
Worship would be a weird word to use. If a god presented itself in a way that the evidence was undeniable, I would probably believe it's a god. I don't know if I would inherently start worshiping it.
What do you think would be required to earn your worship or your praise, your devotion?
Stupid spam calls. First, they could get rid of spam callers, and then I might be more likely to.
That would definitely make a dent in it for me, at least.
I mean, in order for me to quote unquote worship it, it would probably take repeated examples of just, I don't even know how to put that into words. Like, give me a reason that I have to worship you. But I would also say that if a God exists and they're an all-knowing, all-loving, like God, like it's purported to be, then why are you forcing me? Supposedly your creation, you're forcing your creation to bend a knee and love you when you're supposed to be all loving. You know what I mean? Like being a father, if my kid does something, well, my kids haven't really done anything actually horrible, but when they break the rules, my love for them doesn't change. I don't say, hey, you have to love me. And I have a 14-year-old daughter. Anyone that has daughters, especially teenage daughters, knows that that's the age where they're like, Dad, you suck. You're the worst. My love for them doesn't change. So why would a God put different like why is my love more unconditional than that God's love? You know what I mean?
I think Kat had a question. She popped up quick. Or is she sleeping?
No, I'm not sleeping. I was playing chess. I'm not convinced there is anything deserving of worship, but let's say that there is. Would never require anybody to worship it. Nothing deserving of worship would desire it or require it, right? It's like antithetic to like the qualities I think it would have to possess to be worthy of being worshipped. I think about this a lot every time you ask it, and I haven't said anything. Seems like the right time.
I'd question you, but I wrote that into the celestial skeletal bat goddess because I agree.
I mean, it could be questioned, but I can't think of any way to like possess qualities worthy of worship, which again, I'm not sure that there even are. Like, there even could be a being that's worthy of worship, but, and also, like, require it. I don't know. Seems, doesn't make sense.
Mateo asks a great question.
Worship is the action that goes with the feeling of reverence.
The action that goes with the feeling of reverence.
Yeah, so like you do, like worship is a worship, whatever those activities are for you are something you do when you feel reverence
So
of the being.
if that's the
I'm not
case,
married to it.
I would be worshiping every day all sorts of inanimate things. Would I not?
What inanimate things do you revere?
My art journal, the food in my fridge.
Well, and maybe I can break this down a little bit more. So in Judaism, when we worship with like air quotes, it's like following the mitzvah, right? So when we follow mitzvah, we do these. This is how we show worship. And so like even though I'm atheist, I'm still culturally and ethnically Jewish. And because of the ethnicity, because of the culture, there's mitzvahs that I still follow. I wear a kippah, I wear tzitzits, I still do all these things, even though I don't believe that Hashem actually exists. I believe he's a mythological being. It's mythology. But the connection to my people, to my ancestors, to all other Jewish people is extremely important to me, so I still follow these mitzvahs. And I guess, like, how would that factor in when we talk about worship?
Well, do you do those things or those actions that go with reverence?
Yeah, it would be something that I do out of reverence, out of respect for just my heritage.
I guess under Kat's definition, you'd be worshiping your heritage.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I could see that.
Would that...
That's why you do it, right?
Wait, say that again?
So that's
Go
why
ahead,
you
Kat.
do it, right? You practice the like, you do the practices because it is relevant to you because of your heritage. The reason you revere it, the practices or any of that is because of your heritage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems.
So
Also,
then,
that was just like a working definition
no,
that,
I
yeah,
understand.
I have of worship. I'm not married to it.
I can understand it, the action that goes with reverence. But then you're saying that you worship, as in Cyber's case, worship his ancestry, or Philly might worship her art, or her creativity.
Which is valid, I think, probably.
So in that vein of worship, an action that shows reverence or that goes with reverence, I guess that would turn the question back to Hassel about what kind of God would you want to revere, if a God at all? What kind of entity or deity or thing?
One that didn't require my reverence or worship.
beautiful answer. Sounds familiar.
May I introduce you to the celestial skeletal bat goddess?
Yes, who unfurls her wings in accordance with the Lambda-CDM model of physics, otherwise known as the Big Bang, in which our universe is just one membrane between her bony appendages expanding to this day.
We should introduce you guys to the globe, Church of the Globe, where rotation is salvation. Maybe we can get together and make this new religion happen.
It sounds like it works under her wing, as all things.
Hilarious.
And she looks way cooler than any other depiction of a god I've ever seen. So, hey, I'm on board.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
She's really cool. We have a cryptid too.
And she's triune. Well, not triune. Sorry, triple aspect goddess. So, if for any reason somebody thinks that's a requirement for a god, she's got that covered too.
Do people think that's a requirement?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Presuppositionalists.
That's interesting.
So I encountered it enough before I started the channel that I included it. So yeah.
Like they think God has to be triune. Why?
In relationship with itself. A model for love.
It's kind of weird.
They'll also describe it as like the mind, body, spirit thing. They'll explain it in terms of, well, you've seen it with someone trying to use quantum physics.
Yeah, that sounds like New Age Christian
Types
woo.
of quarks.
Without God, how do you know that your globe mathematicals work?
I don't know that, actually.
No.
I only know how to apply the language we use to translate our understanding of the universe.
Drop me down if you want to make space for a new believer.
Oh, yeah, I can go too. Sorry, I just wanted to be there for the energy.
I actually have to get back to work on getting some photos to a client. I was going to drop down as well, but thanks for having me. It was actually, super interesting conversation. And your voice is intoxicating. You should do books on tape, man. Like, seriously.
I've been told that. I probably should be spending more time doing that and less time doing this, but I like this too much.
Yeah, I know. It sucks you in.
Hasselblad, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful saying that. You're going to summon Deathless up here.
He'll come try to give me a vocal lesson again. It's been a while since he did that.
Well, I'll be sure to poke my head in every once in a while. So good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
And nice to see you, Hassel.
Absolutely. Take care. Big W's for Hasselblad. And also, if you're not already following him, give that guy a follow. Especially if you want to see more flat Earth discussions or debates.
If Philly, if you want to stay, I can go. And I can go either way.
Are both of you just either way? Do both of you just kind of not care either way about staying?
I want to stay and question people.
Stay, Philly.
Okay.
I will. You stay.
You can both stay. I mean, there's still a box. But if anybody does have a belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that, and you are capable of questioning your beliefs, then go ahead and request on up. We are not just here to pounce on you. We just want to know what it is that you believe. and why you believe it, if you can even question it, of course. Oh, and of course, because I'm a terribly negligent host, I think I missed a goal back there. So definitely a big thank you to Shell, Buttons the Mighty, Dash, and 96. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. No, we can't all be silent all the time.
Right. Yeah, deconstruction. Were you talking about Deathless Light?
Yep.
I
Okay,
saw him
so
earlier. Seen him in a while.
yeah, I haven't seen them in a while, which is, yeah. Anyways, like, I've had 2 interactions with them. Yeah, the second one.
Interactions of all conceivable interactions.
Kind of. He wanted to just talk about something that was uncomfortable, and I didn't know why. I tried to change the subject, and he was insistent upon it, so I dropped him. It was not very pleasant.
I don't remember if it was on this live or another one, but I did get him to backtrack on some of the statements he had made.
You had a fairly productive conversation with him for about 3 minutes, which is, I think, a record.
Oh, it was on this one because I think you ended up dropping him on that live.
I did. Once it hits a level of disrespect that he tends towards very quickly, I move on.
And real quick, if you want to see the one true picture of Jesus, we call it Booty Jesus. Go look at Uncle Smeg's PFP. You just got to make sure you actually like double tap it, but you'll get a nice picture of the true image of Jesus.
The true image of Jesus.
Yeah, Uncle Smeg will leave
Is beautiful. That is fantastic.
right there. Give that PFP a double tap. Take a look at it. It's the one true image of Jesus. It's more authentic than the Shroud of Turin.
I feel like that's not saying that much.
At least it's alive.
I mean, how else do we know that Jesus has to exist? He put his image on an animal's behind.
And if you don't think that Jesus put his image on an animal's behind, because
Oh, Kat, your headphones are probably backwards.
they are not. I don't know what's going on.
Then it's the phone.
Whatever, it was a bad segue anyway.
And if you can imagine a better segue into how to ask if you've got a belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that, and you've got a belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that, and you're capable of questioning your beliefs, regardless of that whole segue thing at the beginning of this statement, go ahead and request on up. I just want to know if you can question your beliefs. That was bad, wasn't it?
It was better than whatever I was gonna say.
We've got one box open. So I'm pretty sure I have actually interviewed you before. Jarl Halvor.
Hey, man.
Hal the Northman, right?
Yeah, I've been up here. It's been a long time, though.
Mm-hmm. Can you remind us your age for TikTok TOS?
I just turned 25.
Happy birthday. Do you have a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like it?
Oh, yeah, dude. I do.
In what way do your gods exist?
They are immaterial, but are still able to interact with the world in material manners through natural occurrence.
What does that mean?
So, they would be a metaphor for natural occurrence, while still acknowledging the scientific explanation.
I'm not quite sure I'm following. You're saying it would be a metaphor.
For natural occurrence.
So just they only exist as metaphors, as human concepts to explain natural occurrences.
Well, in the same breath, you can still have them as a metaphor while still acknowledging the scientific processes that bring about those natural occurrences.
Scientific processes that bring about the natural occurrences. What do those have to do with your gods?
Well, I'm saying you can still acknowledge that explanation while still having them be a metaphor.
I'm just asking, what do the scientific explanations have to do with your gods?
Well, I kind of do a God of the Gaps for polytheism thing. And I know that's what it is. For example, I acknowledge all of the scientific things that come together to make a thunderstorm, right? However, if you were to take like a hypothetical pot and put all those things together, right? That little push of energy that gets all that stuff started to create it and make a thunderstorm, I would say that would be Thor.
The little push of energy. What do you mean, energy?
Well, whatever. Science can't explain that one little area where, all that stuff comes together. What pushes it to become a thunderstorm?
What do you mean science can't explain that?
I'm saying I haven't seen an explanation for it.
So you haven't seen an explanation for what causes a thunderstorm, and so because you don't know the explanation, then it must be Thor.
Yes, essentially.
If you were to study deeper into meteorology, would you question your belief that Thor was responsible?
Yeah, I would. I actually would, yeah. So if you could present that to me if you wanted to, I would be open to it.
Well, I'm not here to teach you meteorology, Hal. I'm here to see if you can question your beliefs. So if you acknowledge that you're using God of the Gaps to reason that your gods exist, then why would you not question the gaps?
I would question the gaps. Yeah, I would. And that's why it came up, because I was interested in questioning it.
Right, but like if your gap is a deeper understanding of meteorology, then why wouldn't you study meteorology?
I mean, I guess I haven't had an interest in it till now.
So at first when you were speaking, I was understanding you to say that your gods are simply metaphorical. But the more I've been hearing you talk, I'm hearing you say your gods are stand-ins for gaps in knowledge. Am I
Well, yeah,
hearing
to a certain
correctly?
extent. Well, yeah, to a certain extent, like some of the gods function in that for that you have the function for that utility, but other gods are purely metaphor. Like for example, Odin would be a metaphor for things that aren't can't be that can't be concrete to a certain degree. Like he is a metaphor for the secondary emotion of anger and rage, um, and a metaphor for like interconnectedness of communities and individuals within those communities, and like knowledge gaining and stuff of that nature.
So if the gods that have been a stand-in were pushed to become metaphors because you gained knowledge in the areas that are potentially gaps, would that be disappointing to you?
It wouldn't be disappointing standpoint and an ancestral standpoint, just primarily for the utility of my own life. I acknowledge that I have this belief because it makes me feel comfortable, makes me happy, helps me deal with my trauma and issues I've had. So it essentially, I acknowledge that I enjoy the idea of an afterlife, and I am probably wrong, but if I'm wrong, then so be it. Only way to find out is to pass away.
So is it more of a hope than it is a belief in the afterlife?
I would say it'd be faith. I would say it would be faith, and I know that faith is belief without evidence.
Why would you say yes, like Raccoon says in the comments, why would you say that you're probably wrong?
Well, I would say that I was probably wrong because it's intellectually honest to do so. There's no evidence to support, like I can't contextually or concretely articulate to you the absolute existence of an afterlife, right? And neither can somebody disprove the existence of an afterlife to a certain degree because nobody can see through to death and like while they're living. So therefore, I could be wrong or I could be right.
And saying you're probably wrong is a way to acknowledge that there is no way to prove it or disprove it.
Well, yeah. So since there's no way to prove it or disprove it, I just choose my option is to just choose to believe in something, and if I'm wrong, then what's wrong with me being wrong? If I'm wrong, the only way for me to find out is I'd be gone. So,
Do you think it's possible that you would interact, live differently if you did not believe that there was an afterlife?
well, I mean, I enjoy the way I live with the belief I have.
I
mean,
understand. It's purely hypothetical.
Well, I mean, I don't think I would live any differently because the things I've been through in my life and the experiences that I've had have turned me into the individual that I am today. Regardless of my belief system, I would still be the same individual just without a belief.
So it doesn't necessarily change your day-to-day actions.
Not necessarily, no.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for being open to the questions.
Yeah,
I think that's all.
I'm not one of these people who's like gonna, jump down your throat because you're asking me questions. It's what I came up for. If I didn't want to be asked questions, I wouldn't have requested.
Right, you wanted to be asked questions, but in what ways do you question your beliefs? How?
Well, I question them because I'm constantly looking for evidence to the contrary in ways that so then I can critique my belief, right? And if I can critique it, I mean, one of my main deities tells me to literally learn everything I can about everything, And so in that pursuit, why shouldn't I learn everything that I can about the people who don't agree with me?
What?
And their worldview.
What does that have to do with you being questioned or questioning your own beliefs?
Well, through the questioning, I'm able to, like, I've gotten better critiques from atheists, right? And most of the questions I've been asked by atheists, I've been able to add better things on, and my practice has evolved better than I ever could have imagined based on the things I've had to change because of questions atheists have asked me. And, you know, I also just enjoy understanding how people think. It makes my interactions with individuals better in my daily life if I know how people think before speaking to them.
What is something that you have questioned about your beliefs since the last time you were here? It's been, I'd say it was about 2 or 3 months.
I mean, the last thing I questioned was, my extra spiritual or supernatural experiences that I've had within this belief system. And, come to the conclusion that I can't prove it, but, my own personal gnosis isn't a substantiation for it. However, and I can't enforce my belief on any other individual, even as much as I'd like to. But, if it works for me, it works for me, and that's fine. As long as I don't hurt people, that's all.
So as long as you don't hurt people, you feel that you should just believe whatever you want to believe based on your own, you said, personal gnosis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to tell anybody that they should believe what I believe because I think it's 100% correct, because I can't say that and be intellectually honest, or I don't think it's the mark of a good individual to do so. So, I mean, if it makes me feel good, why not believe it?
A reticle fell down.
I did fail, but I came back. Jarl, do you remember me?
No. Who are you?
Yeah, my name hasn't changed much. We've had a couple conversations in other Norse pagan lives. Who's your main god of worship?
I worship the gods at certain times in the year. I'm a historical practitioner.
What's a historical practitioner look like to you?
Well, the god of my family is Thor primarily, because I enjoy the hyper-masculinized version of Thor, and I've had issues with constructive masculinity throughout my life, so I see him as a representation of constructive masculinity.
What does the hyper-masculine Thor look like?
Somebody who values his physical strength, someone who values protection of family and individuals who are weaker than other individuals, doesn't believe that other individuals should be victimized for things that they shouldn't be, that they can't control, and just protects individuals and his family regardless of his own personal, I guess I could say, beliefs.
So you're saying that's historically accurate Thor?
That's not I mean, historically accurate Thor would be something completely different. That would be a reconstruction. I'm a historical practitioner in terms of practice and ritual.
So you practice historically, just not
in terms of practice and ritual, the archetypes in which I construct the gods into in my own mind based on what I perceive or understand the stories to be ritual is historical in framework.
So again, you're going to worship or venerate or whatever word you want to use, historically and accurately, ritually, but you're going to put a different version of the actual God or what the actual God practices or what they actually do.
Well, I mean, I'm well versed on the prose and poetic Edda, so I mean,
sure you are.
I base all of it off of that.
You base your interpretation of the deity off of that.
Yes.
How do you know that your practices are in alignment with historical practices?
Archaeological, anthropological, and linguistical evidence from saga material and Eddic material.
Where is that located at?
Yeah, so we can look at for like burial practices. The Oseberg ship burial is a primary one. There's multiple burials across.
Slow down. You're gonna have to slow down, especially if you're presenting information. What was that burial you just said? You
The Oseberg ship burial for burial
Say
practices.
that one more time.
Oseberg ship burial.
Oseberg ship burial.
Yeah. It's one of the largest ones ever found. That would be a source.
What is the information gleaned from that ship?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it would be a source for burial practices because based on testing of the wood, they can tell how many animals were sacrificed there for the burial. Sure. They can tell how many people.
You're practicing burial practices. What does that tell you about rituals?
Yeah, so the Oseberg ship burial, they can test the wood and see how many animals were sacrificed based on the blood that was present in the area. There's also a tapestry that was present there, right? That illustrates the actual practice itself to a certain degree, the pictorial sense.
What practice is it? Sorry, go ahead, Philly.
I was just asking, what was Thrayle's question? What is the question that you are currently answering?
He asked me about the ritual. I was articulating him how that shows us ritual.
What ritual?
Burial practices.
So I wasn't asking, were we talking about burial practices as far as your traditional practice goes? Is that the traditional practice that you're observing most frequently?
Well, yeah, when I'm to be buried, I mean, I already have all my stuff written out, so.
Okay, but as far as your historical practices, other than your wishes upon your death, are there other practices that you have?
I'm sure there are.
Are there other practices that you have evidenced through history that are not reconstructed?
Well, yeah, so reconstruction is an evolving, Nordic polytheism is a living tradition, so things are constantly changing based on source material that's found, right? So
then when you say that your practices are historical, is that the only one you're talking about, is the burial practice that you are hoping to be involved in one day?
Yeah, sure.
So are the rest of your practices not historical?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not very well liked on Norse Talk, and I I enjoy not being well liked. I hate other people.
You understand, Jarl, that my questions are not about Norse Talk, right? This there
I understand
that.
I'm
People
just
up
saying.
Here that you've interacted with, or people in the comments, but I'm asking you questions to see if you can question your beliefs.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
all.
I was just wanted to preface, I generally despise other pagans, personally.
Okay, so I generally despise a large majority of the people in the room.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That doesn't have anything to do with
be respectful to the question and the space. I'm not sure how that helped. What was the question that I asked before we went off on how people like you or don't like you?
Well, I mean, you should look into Nidhogger and what happens when the people there. You should look into that.
What does it have to do with anything that we've asked up here? Well then,
Okay.
What was that even, like, what was that reference even for?
I'm not sure what the reference was for, to be honest.
It was an attempted. It was an attempted threat.
I see. Well, that will be the last time I speak with Hal.
Oh, that was oh, now I get it. I didn't understand at first.
I thought it was. That's why I was asking the clarifying question. I didn't realize he had decided to leave the panel after making such a threat. That's very mature of him.
Yeah, I mean, when he said he's not liked on Norse Talk, which, fuck, I don't give a shit either, but there's a reason for it, I guess.
Well, I thought it was just because of the attempt to cling to the white supremacist roots, but apparently...
Well, that was the Norse version of go to hell.
I thought I was being very respectful, but, he just decided not to engage anymore. He came up here, I don't know, to get blocked. So, good job.
You did it. Yay.
Reckon it didn't have anything to do with you, I don't think. I don't think it had anything to do with us, but he acts like that a lot. I've seen him in multiple lives.
What part of the hyper masculine Thor was he channeling to run away like that?
I don't understand what the hyper masculine Thor is different from being Thor.
Not the one dressed like a woman.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thor definitely dressed up as a woman in his own mother's drapes to get it.
Okay, let's dial it back a bit. He's not in the room anymore, so we're just gonna see if anybody else has a belief in a god or gods, a higher power, or anything like that, and is maybe capable of questioning their beliefs without threatening everybody with eternal limb gnawing or whatever it was. Hello, Thug. Can I get your age for TikTok TOS? Okay. Is that the extent of our communication then? I see.
Just the epitome.
10,000 followers, ladies and gentlemen. and everyone else.
The epitome of respectful intellectual questioning of beliefs.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was fun.
It was stimulating.
It sounded like a trumpet.
We might have, to be fair, we might have been in a pocket while someone was moving furniture. That's very charitable, Raccoon.
Sounded flat.
Flat like flatulence?
What's up?
Sorry, not you.
Okay. Well,
Breezy.
What's up,
Can I
homie?
get your age for TikTok TOS?
28.
And do you have a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
The thing I can't do is, why you sound so depressed, homie? You sound like...
What makes you think that I sound depressed, Breezy?
Because it's like, what the hell do you believe in?
Hey, Breezy. What if I started to sound very happy? Would that make you happy, Breezy?
Yeah, you sound like a fucking incel, homie.
I see. That's really sad, Breezy. That's the way you've decided to engage.
Yeah.
So, can you actually question your beliefs, or are you just up here to be drunk all over us?
How the fuck did you know?
Oh wow.
I'm writing that down.
Somebody clip that.
Oh my goodness. How did you know?
He was very perplexed about how you actually knew that, Thrayle.
I mean, he basically told all of us, didn't he? I heard it.
Yeah, it wasn't very concealed.
The mystery was not very deep.
I just don't think he was expected to be called out for it.
It's like Scooby-Doo, Thrayle.
I want to hear Thrayle's impression of Scooby-Doo.
That was wonderful, Shadow. Good job.
I don't think... I need to work on my Scooby impression. It's a little demonic.
What about if you just like keep the same voice, just talk like Shaggy?
Like Scoob.
That was actually really good.
Raggy.
That's horrifying. Oh my god.
It reminded me of something.
Yeah.
It's like the monster took Scooby and replaced himself. Shaggy turns around like, "Hey Scoob, like where's the monster, man?" And Scooby's like, "Right."
The
It sounds like
monster is
fucking
actually Scooby.
Yeah. Thrayle just like creaks his neck.
I am the monster, Raggy.
Horrifying. Horrifying. Terrible. Awful.
Then Thrayle straps Shaggy down and starts fucking asking him questions about his food choices.
No,
I don't know that asking Shaggy any questions would be productive. Strapping people down to ask them questions.
That's in this version of the monster. So
it's after the pouncing. First is the pouncing.
Oh, is that what it is? There aren't any
and then
cats
it's the
up
strap
here anymore.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm wondering where this retelling is going to. I think we can leave the straps out of it. If you can question your beliefs, no straps involved, in a god or god's higher power or anything like that, well, go ahead and request on up. We're not here to debate or argue, and no one's looking to pounce. I promise there's no straps. Well, I mean, unless you don't know how to leave the panel. I'll help you down if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead and request on up. Look, I'm already playing out how I'm gonna not strap you down to the panel.
Stop saying strap.
You keep saying
Stop.
strap over.
Please. Please stop.
What's wrong with the word strap?
Stop. No. This is
I
why
could use
they
other
come
words. I could say bind. I won't bind you to the panel. You won't be bound.
better. Much better.
Are you sure bound is better?
Yes, I do think bound is better.
So less strapped, more bound.
Hmm.
You are incorrigible.
fucking troublemaker.
If you are incorrigible about your belief in a god, God's higher power, or anything like that, and you can question that belief, please request up for a respectful conversation. We're not looking to argue or to make you look a fool, although, as Thrayle puts it, you may do that all on your own.
In my mind, bound associates with like almost like an oath or a promise.
Depends on your version.
Well, but and there's also so many other meanings that can be applied even when used in that context.
So if you're bound to that person, would that mean that you're strapped to them?
I fucking hate you.
So you think of...
Find your way. Go ahead.
You might have been saying something far safer than whatever was about to come.
I might have saved you. I don't know. If you find your way up to the panel, we're bound to ask you some questions about your beliefs.
Is it a kind of oath, Morgan? That kind of bound?
That would be my thought.
Or is it like a bound, like without asking questions?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like no one is bound. You're not forced to be here.
Like a bounding pounce.
like Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, just bouncing around.
I can't get the unsafe question out of my head.
You need to say it.
Go ahead.
It's bad.
If it just fucking send it to me. I don't care. Whatever.
Just say it. Peer pressure. Say it. Peer pressure. Peer pressure.
You're live, bro.
Yeah, that's why I really shouldn't say it.
Wait. Just turn the live off and I'll start one. Then you come back.
The hesitation is telling you something.
The hesitation.
That's why I said just send it to me in a message.
Just say it on Discord later.
Exactly. You won't remember it later, though.
Because it can't be unsaid, you know?
Oh, it certainly can, because it can be forgotten.
Oh, it's recorded.
Fantastic.
Multi-streaming. Yeah, no. Not gonna do it. If you've got a belief in a god or God's higher power or anything like that, and you're capable of questioning that belief, hey, we're not here to debate or argue. We just want to know if you can question. I mean, that's really the main thing we want to know, is if you can question it. But also, what is it? Why? And if you're questioning it, then why believe it? Why hold it? Why carry it at all?
Why are you strapped to it?
Kick him off the damn panel. Holy shit.
I don't see why strapped is the word that's... I don't know why it hasn't bothered you. How much is tied to the word bound? No pun.
I do it.
Wow.
The pun was not intended. Could not be stopped.
Okay. In my mind, bound is a much more versatile word, and I think it boils down to...
So you're saying that I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it.
Oh my god. Fuck.
Are oaths equivalent to bondage?
Oh, for sure.
No, but you should kick me off the panel. I do have to leave.
But I think it really just boils down to my need to be precise, or my.
You may have somehow, some way, been muted there, Thrayle.
That's weird.
It's probably for the best. I mean, I don't know when I was muted, but
I can only imagine.
how much was said?
Uh-huh.
What was said?
If anything was said at all.
Did I say anything at all?
It will be lost to the void.
So the question wasn't asked. That's probably best.
Now I want to know the question. God damn it, Thrayle.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
It was the no. So we heard the question, but I don't. If there was anything after that, we didn't hear anything after that. At least I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll leave it to the void.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to avoid questioning your beliefs, we have plenty of space in the panel.
Brilliant.
Well executed.
With that, I will bid thee adieu, Thrayle. It's been amazing. Thank you, host. Thank you, panel. If you wouldn't mind dropping me down.
Appreciate you, Shadow.
Hi, Shadow.
Slay all day. Yeah, it's best I don't. Some horses, they should just
Not be led to water.
or
beaten.
I was gonna say, yeah. So either one of those metaphors just need to just leave the horse alone.
Just leave it in the stable. It's not even your horse. Thank you, Philip.
I don't know why that brought me back to the Iliad from the other night.
No. Oh, that was so painful. That's
The horse was Jesus. The funny thing that still, it bothered me after that conversation was that I even said, what was the horse other than a way in?
Groan.
Horrifying. Oh my god.
I mean, it made it through the gate, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes, Sebastian, that one.
Is the Trojan horse the Jesus of the Iliad? The way?
I'm. I get it, but I don't get it. I got the big leap.
They sacrifice their boats.
That just made it more complex. Grace, get out.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, we're not sleeping. We're waiting to see if anybody with a belief in a god or gods, a higher power, or anything like that is curious enough or courageous enough to question that belief. If that sounds like something you can do, if you can question what you believe, then go ahead and request on up. We're not here to debate or argue. We're not looking for a fight.
Practicing something called patience, which Christianity says is a virtue.
I understand not everybody needs to come up and question their beliefs. Some people will question just by listening. But I do appreciate everybody who gives it an effort. If they're courageous enough to even try. Saying that makes it sound, of course, like there's some threat. Like you need courage in order to question something that's been told to you. But should that really be courage? Should it really take courage to do that? I suppose if you feel like it is dangerous, not from the questions, but from the belief or the source of it or the target of it, if you think that is somehow going to punish you for your curiosity, then I guess it might take a little bit of courage. Grace, I don't know if that's courageous or if that's, you know, suspect. And I mean, like, did the horse consent? It's really important.
Can a horse consent?
I mean, I think it'll let you know if it doesn't. They do bite and kick. I don't know if that's a thing, Grace. I mean, like, there's questions there that are going to definitely get us into weird territory and violations of TOS. So I think it's probably best, like we were saying before, that you just eventually, you gotta leave the horse alone. Whatever metaphor we're using. That's what I was trying to avoid there, Ghostbane. Yeah. Let's just not and move on to questioning beliefs. That'd be a lot cooler. We've definitely devolved from questioning beliefs. I think we're at some pretty large what the fuck territory. I think that's the first time I've ever what the fucked the chat. Right? Next would be great if we had anybody who had a belief. Oh, I'm sure, Raccoon, that I've thought it, typed it even, but I don't remember changing the screen for the chat before. Not in that manner. Sebastian, I think we are probably nearing the end, unless we find a believer here soon. Although I still don't have a poem ready. I have to do that really quick. I mean, we don't have to end. If somebody has a belief in a god or a god's higher power or anything like that, I've still got it. It's the believers who've given up.
We don't bite. We don't want to change your mind.
No, Sebastian, I don't think that's gonna go well.
Thrayle, do you have any equine poetry? Grace wants to know.
ever considered writing poems about horses?
Have you ever questioned a belief in unicorns? Or Pegasus?
I don't think we've ever had someone actually believe in unicorns or Pegasus.
That's too bad.
You know, it would be more interesting, I think, is a belief in the combination of the two.
Mm.
Would it be... Oh, neither one sounds good. Would it be a unipeg or a pegacorn?
What did I come back to? And it's called an alicorn, actually.
Why not a unipeg?
I think you know why it's not a unipeg.
I might have broken myself a while back, and I keep doing it again.
Can I in the kitchen real quick?
Yeah.
Hello, Justice Lee.
Hello?
Can I get your age for TikTok TOS? Can I get your
Hello?
age? Yeah, we hear you, Justice. Can I get your age?
38.
Do you have a belief in a god or God's higher power
Yeah,
or
it's
anything like
38. Yeah, I believe in Christianity, I guess would be what I follow.
Wow, that delay is very long. Have you read your Bible from beginning
I'm having
to
issues
end?
with my can you give me 1 second, please? I'm not wanting to get kicked off here.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute you for a moment, Justice, just because there's like a near 10-second delay and an echo. So I'm gonna suggest that maybe switch your Wi-Fi network or get to a better position, because right now it's gonna be very difficult for us to have a conversation. I'm gonna guess he's teacupped while he's fixing that problem, so I'm gonna thank everybody for 155,000 likes. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate all of you tapping the screen. We're also at, what is it? Oh, well, 40, is it 47 or 67? That number's tiny. Shares. But if we share the live just a little more, make sure you repost or add it to your story or any of that. It'll help get us out to the algorithm. Maybe get a few more people in here who are curious enough or courageous enough to question their beliefs. But go ahead, Justice. I was asking you if you believe, or if you had read the Bible from beginning to end.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I have it fixed then. I'm sorry. No, I have not read the Bible from beginning to end. No, I haven't.
Why not?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess.
Interesting. Do you believe the Bible to be true and literal?
Most parts, I guess.
Does
Sorry.
that mean there are parts that are not true?
I think that it's possible that there are parts that are not true. Yeah. I couldn't point out like what I believe is not true, but I think that some parts may have been added or lost in translation. But I think that some parts are probably not true.
Do you believe the 6-day creation to be true?
I guess if I had to pick, then yeah, I would say that probably is true.
Why would you believe that's true?
Because it's the first chapter of the Bible, I assume, right? I don't know. I guess I've never really put thought to that, whether I believe that part to be true or not.
Does it matter to you if that part is true?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. Like, if the credibility of the Bible is 0 in the first chapter, it doesn't mean I don't want to know I wouldn't dismiss the whole Bible over a miscommunication or I guess an untruth. But like, if it says that, I believe that.
Does that go the same for Adam and Eve? The next story after
that. What exactly are you asking? Like, elaborate, please.
Do you believe that to be true because it's in the book?
Yeah, once again, I've never thought about it. I guess if it's in there, then I believe it, but I guess I don't know what the motive to it be untrue would be. So, earlier you guys were talking about lucid dreams and astral projection and stuff like that.
If we were talking about that, it might have been hours ago.
It was probably like an hour ago.
I'm not sure if we were talking about that like an hour ago, but in any event, that wasn't related to what we were just talking about. Is that why you requested up here, was to talk about lucid dreams and astral projection?
Yeah, it is. I've been listening to you guys all morning. But yeah, I had a question, and I actually had the microphone at that point, but I didn't want to interrupt that guy because he was on it.
Justice, I don't even know if you're talking about the right live. I don't remember talking about astral projection and lucid dreaming this morning at all.
You had some other guy that was like, wow, that sucks, because I don't even do live stuff. Like, I literally have only been on this channel all morning. Okay, well, if maybe I'm wrong, I guess I could be wrong. I don't know. I didn't think I was wrong.
The topic of this live, Justin, is can you question your beliefs? You presented that you believe in Christianity, and so I was questioning you about your belief in that. Are you open to questioning your beliefs, or do you want to move on, since this doesn't seem to be the topic you were?
No, absolutely. I can answer to the best of my capability, but some of the questions you've asked, I've never thought about.
That's fair. And those, I think, are good answers if you haven't thought about it, at least you being honest. Do you believe... Do you believe in the... You're breathing kind of heavily into the microphone. I think if you shift it just a little bit, we won't hear the breath.
Sure.
Do you believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ?
Yeah, that part I think I do believe.
And why?
I don't know. Like, I feel like that part is like the biggest reason that the Bible was probably created. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the peak of the Bible. Like, I don't know why I believe that, but I definitely do believe that part.
You don't know why you believe it.
Faith, I guess, just faith.
Does your faith have any...
Don't you believe?
Oh, go ahead, Morgan.
Sorry, Thrayle. What parts don't you believe?
Once again, I can't like pinpoint exactly what I don't believe, but I think things might have been added in order to keep us following like a set of rules.
How do you identify what's been added?
I don't really think about it. Like, for instance, they supposedly have found evidence that Noah's Ark really did exist, but there's plenty of parts of that have not been proven, but that's where faith comes in. So you choose to believe or you don't believe.
Is faith important to you?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
Because if this life is just waking up every day and do this same 8-hour routine at work and come back, and then it just seems mundane, or like, I would just hope there's something more. Is that like a wrong answer?
No.
When you say you hope there's something more, what do you mean by that?
Well, I think that life generally isn't great sometimes for people, and if there's not something like bigger or at the end of this, then I think that it's kind of a depressing existence a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to say why I think there's parts of the Bible that aren't true, that would be the biggest reason, is because I think they wanted people to believe in something.
Why would we have to wait for something better instead of creating it now?
That's a good question. What about people who don't have opportunity or just didn't get the best hand when they were born? They're like poor, or it gives people hope. And I'm not saying I don't believe, because I do, but I do think that things could have been added.
I'm not sure that really answered what I was trying to get at.
Okay, well, rephrase your question. I'll try to answer it better. I just think that
give me a moment to rethink of how to phrase it.
Okay, yeah, I definitely thought I answered it.
Did you lose your question, Morgan?
Yeah, I did.
Uh-oh.
It was a good question. It was an important question, too. Now I just can't remember it. I'm so sorry.
Those are the best. Justice, does it matter to you if Christianity is true or not?
No,
Why not?
because at the end of all this, I will have still chosen to believe in that. And whether it's true or not really won't make any difference to how I choose to react to the things in this world. It'd be really cool if I wasn't an idiot and I was following something that was true, but it wouldn't make any difference. At least not to my knowledge until, whatever.
So if it's not true, then it won't make any difference. And if it is true, then what will happen for you?
If it is true, then I'll be lucky at the end. And if it isn't true, then I guess I was just a follower.
What happens at the end if you're lucky?
I guess out of however many religions there are, like, if I chose the right one to follow, then I would be really lucky. But if I chose the wrong one, and by the end I mean like day zero of like the end of like existence, then I just mischose, but like I still followed something. The best of my knowledge, like most religions follow a pretty steady, like they're very similar. So even if I'm only a little bit off, I'm only a little bit off. I tried.
At the moment, I'm not asking about you being a little bit off. I'm asking, what if you're right? What if Christianity is true? Then what happens for you at the end?
Well, I hope that I get acknowledgement for following the right path. I actually don't know.
I think I've been able to rephrase my question.
Sure.
If you don't mind me cutting in, Thrayle.
Go for it.
Not at all.
Do you think striving to improve the world now conflicts with believing in something better after unalivement, or can those two things coexist?
That is a very, very good question. I would think they can coexist.
Can you explain that a little bit more and get into that?
Well, I'm just trying to think of like how exactly to. Yeah, I guess. Well, that's just such like a crazy question.
Sorry, I do that sometimes.
No, you're cool. I just don't know where to start. Yeah, I think that you. So you're asking if you think. Just one last time. Ask that again.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Do you think striving to improve the world now conflicts with believing in something better after unalivement?
Okay. So I think it's necessary. Um, I don't know. It's kind of like you borrow something and you try to give it back in a little better shape or the exact same shape as you left, like you got it. You definitely don't want to tarnish the world and leave it in worse shape
Mm-hmm.
when you move on. And I'm assuming some of us have children. I do. And I definitely don't want this place to be worse than when I left it. So no, I don't
What happens when that's out of your control?
Then it's just literally that out of my control.
How do you handle that?
I guess you don't handle that. Like when it's like panicking about something that you have no control over. It doesn't make the situation any better, or dwelling on it. Like it's literally just an extra thing for you to be worried about. If you can't change it, then why even think about it? I'm not saying like I wouldn't like to, like I'm not saying that I wouldn't think about it, but like at the same time, if you can't change it, you literally just be focusing on something that you can't do anything about.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like I answer all these questions incorrect, but
Why do you think that?
because they're open-ended questions, and then they're just open-ended, and it just feels weird.
Do you feel, Justice, that you're answering these questions with feelings and not evidence?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that what you asked? Is to be honest? I can.
Yeah, absolutely, and fair.
Yeah, but yeah, I would say so.
Does a God have to exist for it to be meaningful?
No. The belief itself is what's meaningful. Because if I chose to follow all the commandments and I was wrong at the end of the day, I still had guidelines and I was trying to do the right things, even if they're made up. But if there were no guidelines and this place was chaos, I guess you're asking it individually. So yeah, no, I think that it doesn't matter.
Do you think a God is required for guidelines?
No, I think the idea of a God is required for guidelines.
Why is the idea of a God required for guidelines?
Because we're talking about souls and where your soul individually winds up. So, I mean, you can do bad things and never get caught, but in the eyes of God, if He exists, you're always being watched, and you have to have morality and credibility for literally everything. And if God really exists in the way it says in the Bible, then you're constantly credible for the things that you've done.
So, I think you mean accountable, right? Or yeah, I guess credible could work. But you mean accountable, that you are, because the God is described as judging you, no matter who sees you, it will always see you.
Yeah.
Then you're always accountable, and that's what a God is required for that kind of account. Do you think that we could not find ways to teach that kind of morality without a deity overlooking everything you do?
Yeah, I think it would be harder to like implement that into people. I think that if they think they're being watched when they're not being watched, I think they're more apt to do the right thing. Um, and then, like the eyes of the law, you could get away with a lot of stuff like shoplifting or whatever, but you don't always get caught. But if you're constantly thinking somebody's watching you and you need to make the right decisions, then your accountability changes a little bit. Not everybody.
Can't that kind of thinking also lead to sort of letting certain things slide because there will be an ultimate justice?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But I want to make sure, like, I do believe in God. I feel like I'm arguing against it, and I'm not at all. Like, I 100% believe in God, but I do think it's possible.
You're doing a very good job of being honest with your answers, Justice. I appreciate the way you've answered most of these questions. It's kind of been surprising. So, I don't think you're arguing against God. I think you're I think you're answering in a way that's open to the possibility that no God, that a God might not exist, and this is how you think it would be beneficial to still believe in it, which was from the question I asked, does a God have to exist to be meaningful?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you've done very well, Justice. Do you feel like this has changed or enlightened you in some way on the way that you actually think and believe?
not necessarily this conversation. I'm really open-minded. I've been listening to you guys all this morning, and I just think it's a really neat topic to entertain, and not many people do it.
Do you think it's possible that your God might not exist?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, though, on the other side of things, if he were to prove himself, everybody would be a follower and there would be no faith attached to the individual. And I think that's all he basically asks is for faith. And I think
What is faith?
belief.
Is it just belief?
I'm not 100% sure, I guess. I don't. Yeah, it kind of seems like it's just belief.
If faith were better described as belief without as evidence, would you still think that it's important to have faith, to believe without evidence?
Yes, this, like, in this scenario, yes.
Why? Why is it better to believe without evidence in this scenario?
Because I think it's really easy to just know. If you just literally knew he existed, like I said, everyone would want on board with that. But faith is what separates normal people or people from. I don't even exactly know how to explain that, but it's like one of the only little requirements. Man, I just made myself sound so ignorant, but it's one of the requirements is to have faith, and
One of the requirements of the God.
I believe so.
Right. So why is it a requirement? Why is it so important?
Wow, that's a really good question. I have no idea why it's so important, but I do believe that it separates a lot of people. I mean, you could be raised in a Christian Catholic church or whatever and know all of you could know every line of the Bible and not have faith, and it means nothing to you, but that divides people. Either you have faith or you don't. That's how I think. I don't know that that's
What happens in the book if you don't have faith?
I don't know.
If it says that the the lake of fire.
Yeah.
Is that line up with what you believe? Do you believe that those without faith will be cast to a lake of fire?
No, not really. Once again, like it could very well, as much as it could have been written to have us follow, like it could also have been written a little bit to scare the shit out of people.
To scare them into what? Submission.
To keep people like sheeps. It's like easier to like fear mongering, like COVID people into submission. Yeah, submission's a good word. I got because of the COVID vaccine, I was in the National Guard, and they pushed that so hard that they said, we will kick people out of the Army. And I was not going to get that vaccine because they had no idea what they were doing. And they ended up, I didn't get a dishonorable discharge. I got kicked out for 6 months, and then they said, you need to come back and fulfill your obligations. So I came back just the way, but I was not going to take their vaccine. And I never did take the vaccine. I don't even know why I got off on this, but I think fear mongering is definitely a thing. And I think it works well.
Do you think the fear mongering in this religion is from God?
No, not really.
So then the parts of the book that talk about being cast in the lake of fire, the wrath of the god, the punishments of the god, the gnashing of teeth, all of that's just added by men.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, but at the same time, like, yeah, don't have a real good argument for that one. I don't know, but I don't believe that it's like that. Like I don't know. I guess I've always wondered, like, if you were to tell me about the day before you were born, why do people think that it's any different than the day after you die? And once again, I'm not saying I don't believe, because I do, but I'm really open minded to these things. Like, what would make you believe that it's any different from the day before you were born? But I sure hope I'm right if I chose Christianity and that is the correct religion, or I hope that I'm close. But once again, like, if I knew.
Your question was a great question that you asked about the day before you were born and the day after you went alive.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to say that.
Well, it really probably isn't as big a deal. Right. But if the day after you die is the same as the day before you were born, Does that idea frighten you or worry you at all?
No, actually, I think that would be the reason that it was written, is because if there's nothing to fear, like if you do all the bad things and you're a piece of whatever, there's nothing to fear, then you don't have to follow any guidelines.
Do you think that the guidelines are more for the forcing of people to fall in line with certain ideals, with other people's ideals?
I think that it would make a lot of sense.
So then, if the threats are not from the God and the guidelines are not from the God, then what of the stories of the Bible, what of any of it is from the God?
Well, I think I would say that most of the Bible is probably very close to being right, but we lost some in translation. I can't even say the words. I don't know what commandment it is, but thou shalt not, like what people do in the army. Like I'm not sure if it's, I don't know how to spell it, but I think some stuff got lost in translation, and I think that some might have been added during translation. Like, let's throw this in and see if we can get people to follow these rules. But once again, I have no idea.
Is it possible that all of these things were in there from the earliest versions we can find?
Yeah, I would say it's possible, sure.
If that is the case, then the Bible is just myths and legends made up by people who didn't know any better.
I think it could go both ways. I think it could easily be complete fiction, and I think it could be real. But faith.
If it's contradictory and
what if Sorry.
I was going to say, if it's contradictory and full of prescriptions that seem to be from men, how could any of it be real?
I think once again, you could educate yourself to the fullest and come to realization that you don't believe, but then I think at some point you kind of just step back and try to believe, which is kind of what I think belief is. But I do think that there is plenty of evidence that at least some of the stories are true.
Do you try
I feel like
to
I'm
believe?
arguing against God, and I really don't like this. It feels uncomfortable. I'm 100% a believer in God.
You say that you're 100% believer. What does that mean?
The questions that I can't answer, I rely on just believing faith, because I think it would be easier to prove it wrong and then not be a believer, but I think that's where faith comes in. What if the whole goal of Satan is to try to prove it wrong, and the only thing that divides that is faith?
What if Satan is the faith, the blind faith in something that you cannot prove or see?
It would seem really senseless, kind of, because go back to the 10 Commandments, rules and regulations.
The 10 Commandments.
Not doing awful things. It's I can't say the words.
Do you know the Ten Commandments?
I do not know them. No.
Is it possible that only perhaps 3 or 4 of them are actually of any value?
That's very possible.
So then, could the rest of them, the ones that demand not holding a god before him, the ones that demand not coveting or desiring things, do those things perhaps not come from the god?
Hey, yeah, no, I think so. I'm getting a phone call. If I try to get back on this live, can I or no?
Justice, we'll likely bring you up another time, but I'm going to let you go so you can take your call.
Hey, it was really nice talking to you.
Appreciate you, Justice. Take care.
You have a new follower.
W's for Justice. He can question, even though he keeps saying he's 100% believing. I think I would question that the most, is what the percentage is. But I do appreciate him. Thank you, Justice, for answering the questions.
Yo, what up?
Dr. Chaotic, can I get your age for TikTok TOS?
38.
And do you have a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
Yeah, I read your little description up there. So coming off as a Christian, I know you're gonna love this one. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take your words and I'm gonna use them for.
Could you tell me, do you believe in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
So there is one true God, and that is the creator of the universe, and it is the God that you would think everyone would think is the God that created it. If you've heard about the story of that.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of stories about gods that created everything. So is your god Marduk?
So God, the creator of all, his name... Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Which god?
So God, the creator of the universe, which would be the one who had a son named Jesus that came to earth to save us from our sins, which damnated us.
You can stop the sermon there. You've identified the God.
Nice.
Have you read your Bible from beginning to end?
Yep, a couple times. And then
you believe the stories to be true and literal.
So the beliefs on it, I would say, would be 100% at times. That's why I felt like I should come in here and let you understand what a Christian might have a disbelief about 100% belief, which is pretty much just doubts.
I'm not asking you what a Christian might have. I'm asking you what you, Dr. Chaotic, believe and question. So, do you believe the stories in the Bible to be true and literal, was my question.
Yeah, I believe all the stories and...
So a 6-day creation, Adam and Eve in the garden, those stories are true?
Yeah.
Why do you believe those stories?
So, and from my perspective, most of what we learn as a young person is what we're taught. Would you agree with that?
I'm sorry, would you care to rephrase that sentence, because it didn't quite...
I was just saying...
Most of what we learn is what we're taught.
Yep, pretty much that's all you learn in your life as a young, say, from ages 3 to maybe 7. Those are pretty critical learning years because you're soaking up knowledge.
Are you saying most of what we learn in our life is learned at a young age? Is that what you're trying to say?
So that can be a big start on a lot of people, I would say.
I'd like to know
for
if
me,
that's what you're actually saying. What is
for me, it was.
Can you clarify? Okay. So you're saying what you learned before you were, what age was it again?
I would say about 3 to 7 years old.
Before you were 7, so from 3 to 7, what you learned is most of what you know now.
Yep. And that's off of a belief. Like, you know, like other stuff, learning jobs and stuff, that's all adult stuff. But with the belief system, I was taught just one true God, and there's a heaven and hell.
So do you believe all these stories to be true and literal because you were taught them from the age of 3 to 7?
I do, and I believe them, and I think they're very interesting as well, which makes it funner.
Is that the only reason you believe them to be true, is because you were taught them at a young age? Or do you have some other reason you believe them?
Well, I kind of just learning it and then growing up with it and then seeing and just like the signs of miracles, which are unexplainable to anybody and everybody, is another huge power, which just turns me straight back to my belief of how great God is. Because
what is a miracle?
So a miracle, I would say, is something that cannot be done that just got done.
Can you give an example?
So somebody has a heart attack and their heart is 100% failed, but that person is still living somehow.
100% failed.
So their heart is not working. They are dead. But by the grace of God, he puts life right back into their heart and lets them live more, because there's a purpose for their life. There's a greater plan, is what I believe.
Sorry, can you think of any instance when a heart was 100% dead or gone? I don't know what you were referring to there.
I don't know names or nothing, but a lot of people around the church, because I went to church, there would be people that were dead, and they would go to the hospital, and then somehow their heart beats back. And a lot of times it would be car crashes or overdoses. And I know that Narcan they come up with, it's a good stuff.
You're saying you went to a church with people who were dead?
No, the people would tell you about the stories in church of things that would happen the week prior.
What makes you think that those stories were true?
Well, I just don't feel like the people had much of a history of lying, so why start now, right?
How do you know what their history was outside of the Sundays?
Just by talking to them. Talking to them and seeing their personality.
Do you think that by talking to someone that you can verify that they're not going to lie or exaggerate?
I could read people very, very well. And it's
not
pretty
just trusting you, we're trusting the people you go to church with, that they have had these experiences, that there have been those. And so therefore, because you trust those people you went to church with, then they must have had those experiences, then the experiences are true.
Yeah.
Do you not question anything like that?
To a point, I would question some of it. And then it would come down to it. You would have to be there to really have the proof. You know?
Have you ever been there?
I have been in situations that were close to death, but no, I have not.
What does that mean?
So I was working with my dad. We were changing the brakes on the truck, and the truck fell off the jack, and straight across his chest it fell. And he's underneath there, and first thought in my head is if he got punctured somehow in his chest and I took the weight off, it'd just release all his blood and he'd bleed out. So that's what I was thinking. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to call 911. So I called them up, and then before you know it, just out of nowhere, like adrenaline pumping like crazy. My dad says one word, "Get it off of me." So I got it off of him in like 15 seconds. I put the jack back under there and just got it off. And he had blood coming out of every hole in his face. We're Caucasian. His whole face had turned to black. by the pressure and the blood pushing upwards. And he was like, I don't know, seconds away from death. And I look at it as a miracle because, I mean, it could have just been ironic and I just got it randomly off at the perfect time. But I looked at it as my God saved my dad because he still has a purpose that he wants him to fulfill before he dies.
Then why did your God knock the car off the jack?
Well, he did it himself. My dad did because of his impatientness.
So, your dad knocked the car off the jack.
Yep.
And then
I was right there with him.
And then you got the jack under the car and got it off his chest.
Yeah, it was a Chevy 2500 HD, which is really heavy.
And you don't give yourself credit?
I give myself a little bit of credit for being able to perform in the situation because it is a high panic situation. And I say I did it, but at the same time, I would give God the credit for it because I believe he created me and he put that attribute into me to be able to persevere through that situation.
He put that attribute in you.
Mm-hmm. The one to be able to, in times of panicking, to be able to somehow focus.
To listen to what your dad said.
Yep.
He had a car on his chest. And to jack the car off his chest.
Yeah, because it was wild. And that was like maybe 8 years ago, and he just had heart surgery on New Year's.
So, how do you verify that God had anything to do with it? Could adrenaline and your own desire to see your father survive not have played a bigger role than a God you can't prove is there?
I'll use history because I know history contradicts itself. It's seen and proven. And just the power of God, just like, I feel like it just came into me for that moment because I'm not that strong mentally. I'll give up on something easily if I don't want to do it. And it's
you know
like
what adrenaline is?
I did then. But no, the true understanding of the adrenaline and the rush.
Dr. Chaotic, do you love your dad?
Yeah, I love my dad a lot.
So adrenaline, love for your father, desire to see him around. Not only that, but he told you, your father told you to do something to get the car off him.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it not make sense that you would do whatever it takes to save him?
Yeah. And at the same time, it didn't do too much damage, but when the truck fell, I was in there like right beside my dad, and luckily I didn't get under there, but my whole right arm, it smacked when it fell down, and it was all bruised up later, but like at the time being,
adrenaline.
That adrenaline was miraculous, and I believe that adrenaline, I believe the adrenaline was made by God.
I see. So no matter what happened,
so it all goes
God
back
was
to
responsible.
my creator, yeah.
Why do you give God credit for everything?
Being created in itself is enough, I would say.
How do you verify that you're created and not just born?
That is the, let me read your thing. Can you? Yeah, I'll go with the questioning your belief on that part, because that is where I'd like to question it, because, questioning something's not always bad, you know? That's how you learn more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, with the God and the beginning of time off of the Bible, there was God just sitting there. This is just a vague picture in my head. God's sitting there. He's just like, what's he doing? He's just there. Ultimate power. And then a thought comes into him to say, all right, let's create some stuff. I'm not too great on knowing all of the Bible. I know enough to be able to get in trouble. But But yeah, it's like, why did God create us, and why did
Have
He
you read
let
the
us
Bible
have?
before?
Yeah, and I'm like, why did He let us have this downfall when there's so much we hear about how God loves us so much, and He's like, He's for us so much, and He wants the best for us. It's like, why did He even give us this chance for a downfall, which would be sin? It's like, I just don't understand that part. Like why would He want to give us that? Like, it's just ruined everything. The world was perfect, as you hear, or good, is what they say in the Bible, and it's like, well, is it really necessary?
Do you remember reading that part of the Bible?
Yeah.
Do you remember the stories, the creation story and the Adam and Eve story?
Mm-hmm.
And you think those are true, right?
Yep.
Would it matter if they contradict each other?
Contradiction in the Bible definitely matters, because for the citing of a brain to think the Bible has anything that's false, then it's all false. There can't be any false in it, because then your faith is pretty much a lie, and you're believing in something that was a lie.
Do you have a Bible handy?
I do not. But I'm familiar with most of the passages. I studied it a little bit, and then if you don't use it, you lose it a little bit.
You know the order of creation in Genesis 1?
Yeah.
Can you remember it?
In order, I might have a little dyslexia on it, but no, I don't think I could put it in order. It's been a while since I've read over it. I probably would mix it up like crazy.
Well, according to Genesis, he starts with light. In Genesis 1, firmament, and then plants, and then sun and moon, and then animals, and then man and woman. And that's Genesis 1. Now, the reason I said contradiction is because Genesis 2 gives a different order. It starts with plants. Well, not plants, sorry. It starts with why there are no plants, and then says there's a man, then plants, animals, and then woman. So in one you have plants, animals, woman. The other you have man, plant, animals, woman.
Yeah, I'd have to read over that again just to see what you're seeing. Yeah, I haven't really heard that one before. That's the first for me.
If this is one of many contradictions within the text, would you say that it's possible that the stories are myths compiled by an ancient people that didn't know any better?
Well, it wouldn't be worth it for me, because at the end of my life, from my beliefs, I get an eternity in heaven. So if I contradict what I'm believing, then the option that I have of having an eternity in heaven wouldn't be there. So it's almost as if I have to just tell myself, regardless of the situation, this life I'm living now, it's nothing compared to what I'll have in the afterlife. So it's well worth believing this, even if, say, it wasn't true. Because at the end of our lives, I'm getting exactly what I was going to get, or I'm getting exactly what everyone else was going to get, and that's nothingness. So I feel a higher benefit in believing that there is God and that there is heaven, because at the end of my life, I got something to look forward to instead of darkness and emptiness.
I see. And what about all the other gods and their hells?
So I haven't really read up on anything other than Satan and the fiery pit of eternity that he'll be cast into, and all the people that turned their backs on God and rejected him will gather with him. That's the only concept of hell I really know.
For a moment, imagine if every other god that other people believe in also had a hell for not believing in them.
Mm-hmm.
Would you worry about those hells?
If there was an opposite side of the hell, which would be like something perfect, then yeah.
What if there is no other option? What if it's only the hell option?
If there was only hell, then I would be very selfish, very greedy, and I wouldn't really think about anybody but myself. Because I know after this life that I'm living now, there's hell.
Interesting.
So you're saying that if there were nothing but hells, then you wouldn't live this life in any good way at all? My question was actually more to the, and we're hearing all your background noise, Dr. Chaotic. My question was more to the idea, what if all of the gods that exist will send you to a different hell, all similarly horrible to the one you believe in, for not believing in them? Which one would you choose? How do you know to choose one at all? What makes it make sense that any of them would exist in this case?
Let's say would we say Zeus? Would that be one of the gods we would say would?
Sure, let's say if you don't believe in Zeus, he'll send
And then
you
we
to
have Hades. Yeah.
And so if you don't believe in Odin per se, then you would be gnawed on for eternity by a serpent.
Yeah, I feel like, well, from the condition of feeling I'm in right now,
beliefs, by the way. I just want to clarify.
I feel like I would take Zeus over Hades. And I guess what god you choose.
It's not necessarily choosing which god. It's more so the belief system's version of hell is what's being asked about. Does that make sense?
Okay.
If every god promised that if you didn't believe in it, you would go to its hell, then why do you only choose this god to worship, to avoid its hell?
Yeah, that's mostly the God I've been taught about since day one of God, and I guess that's my favorite.
Have you ever explored any other faith systems?
I've learned about them.
Curiosity.
Yeah, I've learned about them. I've watched some videos on some stuff, and you can tell from a person's body language that is a person that is more like self-indulged and thinks possibly they could be a god. you can, just the body language coming off, and if it's a voice, you ain't gonna get that, but you can tell that they're just kind of different. And different doesn't have to be bad, but
I'm not sure I understand how this is related.
I might have got off subject, didn't I? I don't know. There was one lady, and this is the biggest powers that I would deal with in this universe is demons. I believe in demons. I know that the power they have is greater than a human's.
What's a demon?
So a demon is an angel that was cast down from heaven.
Are you sure about that?
As sure as I am that there is a heaven when I die. It's all off of the Bible and what I can believe to get me to an eternity that's going to be better than anything I've ever known.
Is that what the Bible says that demons are?
Yeah. And there might be other ways too that demons were formed. And what is it? Half demons? Was that demigod? Or something? Or I don't know. I'm not too good with those terms, but yeah, there were demons that came on the earth and had babies with humans. And those are the giants that came out, and it's all wild. And it's like if we were there and we seen it, it would be so easy to understand. And that's the part that I was like, the faith, the blind, it's so difficult, honestly.
Can you tell me where in the Bible it describes the demons coming down?
So I could be wrong. I'm not too prideful to say if I'm wrong. So when Lucifer was kicked out of heaven, I can't tell you the passage. I can tell you what happened there. So Lucifer was kicked out of heaven, and when he went, 1/3 of all the angels in heaven went with him. So he was powerful in heaven.
Where do you
he was
get that
powerful.
from?
Shoot, I can't remember the book it's in, but I have it kind of like inscribed in my head as a memory. Yeah, 1/3 of all the angels went down, and I don't know if it is. I'm guessing that's when they turned from angel to demon. I could be wrong somewhat on this. I haven't really studied on it great, but they were back.
What is an angel?
An angel. I don't think I even have a definition for an angel. I more have a picture. Isn't that funny?
What picture?
The one you have with the big wings, looking all nice and fancy pants, looking like they could just take an army down all by themselves. Maybe twice the size of a normal person.
Are you describing the background right now?
Nah. But I do see it now. I was actually looking at a little pond.
What gives you this idea of an angel?
You know, the pictures painted around us. And then there are descriptions a little bit in the Bible about stuff, but I don't think the angels were described that much.
Is it possible that a lot of your beliefs are based on extra biblical stories, things that people added to fill out the missing parts?
Nah, a lot of it's straight from text in the scripture.
Can you tell me any of the texts that describe demons or angels the way you have?
No, I don't really. No, the only thing really popping in my head are the casting out of demons. When Jesus was on earth, and
The
I think
Legion
his
story.
disciples, they ended up getting in on it too. But yeah, it's definitely a place you do not want to go and try to mess around if you are not well equipped.
What do you mean
when
a place you don't want to go? You're talking about hell.
Demons, I believe, are real, and they can take over a person.
Why
They
do you
can take
believe
over their
demons are
body.
real?
There's been exorcisms that I believe are real, and my dad, he told me a story about one. I've never seen it, but it's been seen by a lot of people.
People have told stories that you've never seen proof of, and so you believe the stories.
I've seen some films, which I'm not going to take a film creditable, but like my dad, I would believe my dad when he would talk about something like this, because why would you feed your kid something that he's not going to be able to eat? Metaphorically.
I don't know what you mean. You mean, why would your father tell you something that he believed to be true, even if it wasn't?
No, why would he lie to me when there's no need to lie to your kid?
How do you know he lied?
Well, I don't think he lied about any of the stories, but
So then, could he have not just told you something and been mistaken?
Yeah. That's I guess the trust part is very big with belief, and just believing in a person. You have to find that ground of trust. Without the trust, I don't think there is any way to really believe in a person or a thing. Just like your car, you gotta trust it's gonna work, or you wouldn't get in that car. But yeah, I got one more crazy one for you. I'll probably let someone else have a go.
Chaotic, I really don't have any more questions at the moment. I think I'm ready to move on, but I do appreciate you being here.
All right, man.
Take care. Maybe another time we'll have more questions for you.
All right.
Keep asking questions. I think it's safe to say that that guest could question potentially, but wasn't. And I think maybe another time he might come back with that ability. Or, I don't know. Maybe I'll just come back and tell us something crazy. Like this guy does. How's it going, Denny?
How's it going? That was... yeah. Seeing other people's beliefs is beautiful.
Is it beautiful?
It is. It helps me see my own more clearly.
Why? How does it help you see your own?
See, I know that, like, I'm 51, and I've had this continuous stream of experience. And now I know that so have you and everybody else. They all have the same sort of thing going on. We all have the same sort of thing going on. And knowing that you're walking around questioning what you're seeing, questioning what you think about what you're seeing. One of the most crazy things that I've really come to the conclusion of, with assistance of people who may or may not have bodies, is the idea that all of my beliefs should be questioned regularly. Because most of the stuff that I'm thinking about, most of the...
Denny, are we the people that may or may not have bodies?
Oh, you definitely have bodies.
Okay, what do you mean by people who may or may not have bodies?
I have experienced losses of people in my family. And they no longer have bodies, but we still talk.
When you say we still talk, you talk to them. Do they talk back?
Yes.
In what ways do they talk back?
There are certain things that I find, thoughts that I have, that voice in my head saying things that I've never thought of before. Most of the ideas that I have come from the world around me. I come to some conclusion and then some different idea drops into my head. And I question those things. However, those things, those perspectives make me question what I think about what I've seen. Like they literally say, I'll form an opinion about something that I've seen or experienced. And another thought will come in and it will make me question that thought about it. And I'll go through perhaps a 5-minute thought stream and I'll form some conclusion based on what I think about what is going on. And then realize that that whole thought stream all occurred without any outside input whatsoever from another individual who had a body. And when I realized that, I'm like, okay, that's just me thinking about what I'm thinking. Internal monologue. And the feelings that I had about what I was thinking are invalid because none of the stuff that I thought was going to happen or that I thought, I was just walking around doing the dishes or whatever. Oh, none of that actually happened, so I don't have to worry about any of it. Okay. Carrying on. So questioning those beliefs, because those things that I think about what I think I've seen make me feel something because they're based on my beliefs about myself. And when I look at that more concretely, more, and realize, okay, I felt this way because I believe something about myself. Okay, is that belief still valid? Well, if I'm questioning it because it makes me feel uncomfortable, it's probably no longer valid. And most of these beliefs that I question and find invalid are old beliefs from when I was small, when I didn't understand as much of what I understand now, or at least I understand it differently. I'm not into, I'm definitely questioning my beliefs is one of the funnest things that I do now.
What is something that you question when you have all these certainties that you, for instance, speak to unalived people?
So the only certainty that I do have is that I exist. Everything else is up for question. And I don't mind throwing away any part of what I think I am to expand into something that could be more of me than I thought I was before.
What was the last part of you that you questioned and changed?
How I relate to other people and whether or not I'm valuable in their life. And why it is that I am valuable to other people. And the conclusion I came to was that I can help them, I can listen. And the subtlety of that is as follows. I cannot change another person. I can only be myself as completely as I can and let them see that. And for me, healing another person is just me healing myself and them and letting them see that. And when they look at me and they go, He's being himself and he's healing. Maybe I can too. And they go and do the same thing. I can't change anybody. I can only recognize my misunderstandings and let them go.
What about your beliefs, Danny? What's something that you have changed about your beliefs recently?
Recently. It seems to be different ways in which my belief in, okay, so from a very young age, worthlessness was a big idea for me. I thought I was worthless. I felt worthless because of the things that I had lost, because things that had been taken from me. And that idea manifests in my life in different ways, especially in the ways that I relate to other people. And when worthlessness is the topmost belief when I'm dealing with another person, I feel low self-esteem and I feel fearful and when I see that happening now, I'm feeling that kind of, I can actually feel that feeling and question it. Why do I feel like this person is against me, or I feel out of alignment with this experience this person is sharing with me? Why do I feel like I don't belong here? Well, I remember this feeling and I question that belief. I don't belong here. When did I first feel that way? Oh, I remember I felt this way when I was 6 or when I was 4, sometime before. And the experience that I recall from the first experience where I assumed that it was true that I was worthless comes back in the memory. And I go, that wasn't true because I thought that was going to go on forever and it was true. But it turns out, looking back across 51 years of my life, it wasn't true when I was 6. It's probably not true now. And the fact that I exist means that it's not true. If I exist, I have value. I could not make an argument that I do not exist to pick up the answer. So, the fact that I exist means I am valuable and I can set aside those beliefs that tell me I'm not.
What is value?
I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is whatever gifts I have to express, the ability to listen, the ability to question my own beliefs, the ability to show somebody.
What is deciding that purpose, or who?
Oh, me. I chose it all.
So the value that you have,
yes,
is yours.
Yes.
And the purpose that you have is yours.
Yes.
So, if it is yours, then does it matter to you if everything is God or not? I know we haven't mentioned that yet, but I remember.
Yes. Because that's all there is. And you might, I'm able, to be honest, I'm equally happy to substitute quantum states for God.
Why?
Because there's one thing, it's becoming everything, and everything is indescribable, and the one thing that they're all made of is indescribable. So we put labels on it to limit it to the size of our brains. Like our minds can't fathom anything that's infinite. And I get that because it's a finite thing. By definition and on purpose, we limit ourselves to come here. And that's what I did. And by knowing that and becoming that and accepting that, I then when you come at me with some idea that I don't agree with, rather than feel the need to destroy your idea, I can accept that your idea comes from the perspective you have, and that it's completely necessary for me to question my own perspective. Steel sharpens steel, as it's said. I have a friend who no longer has a body. I got a guest. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Danny,
You
we'll
too.
catch up again another time.
Will do.
I had more questions for Denny, of course, but I always do. Even when I don't. I do have them. Appreciate you, Denny, for coming up and sharing how you question. And if you have a belief in a god or gods, a higher power, or anything like that, and you're capable of questioning that belief, then go ahead and request on up. I think I've got one more in me. Hello, Moth. Can I get your age for TikTok TOS?
Hi, again, Thrayle. It's been a long time, but I am 33 years old.
And can you remind me if you've got a belief in a god or gods, higher power, or anything like that?
I'm happy to hop down if the answer is no, but I was wondering if there's any questioning of the non-existence of a god, because that is my belief.
I don't quite question it as rigorously, but I do have a couple of questions. Like, for one, why don't you believe in a god?
Similarly to your last guest, I can only prove my own existence. And to me, that is all that matters. So, whether or not there is a God should have no influence on whether or not I beget benevolence into the world. And I find that assuming or believing that there is no God gives that thirst for benevolence a lot more meaning and power, because I only get to do it once.
Can you think of what might convince you that a god does exist?
I mean, honestly, I would have to experience.
Something that could not be explained by the natural world.
Correct. So
It's
actually.
lack. I'm sorry. I was just going to say it's lack of explicability that would make it somehow godlike.
Sure. Yeah. I grew up. Sorry about that. I grew up in the church and left in my early teenage years, and just hearing about it from someone else, and studying the word myself never revealed any higher power or omniscient entity to me. So, and I'm not here to judge or knock anyone for believing.
Right.
That's fantastic if they have that, and if it helps them cope in this void universe. But yeah, for me personally, I find a lot more comfort in believing that nothing happens next.
So you have a positive belief that nothing happens next, that there is no afterlife?
Correct.
And a positive belief that there are no gods?
Absolutely. I think that when it finally comes time for my brain to power down, it will show me what I need to cope with the process. And then I'll kind of drift off almost like in a dream and return to wherever I was before I was even born. And that's comforting to me.
Do you feel that the positive claim that no God exists and no afterlife exists is evidenced in some way for you?
Is it evidenced?
Yes. Are those claims you make with evidence, or do you feel that it is through a lack of evidence that you can make those claims?
Honestly, it's a mixed bag, because when I look at it in one direction, no one has ever, at least in my life, I know that the Bible says differently, but no one has ever come back to tell me what they experienced. And from a very brutally physical sense, post-mortem surgeries and things like that, and nothing that I ever experienced or saw in those environments would lead me to believe that any of these people went somewhere else. There are still biological processes that happen after unaliving. You can still have muscular contractions. The body works rapidly to decompose itself. So I think existence and consciousness can exist past unaliving, but it just looks very different, and I don't think it's something that begets awareness. So yes, sorry, that's a long-winded way of saying I think lack of evidence is what led me to believe this.
Sorry, I'm thinking of a question. I just wanted to make sure it worded correctly. You leave room for the possibility that a God exists.
Sorry, could you repeat the first part of that question?
Do you leave room for a possibility?
I do, but it is not something that I actively potentially encounter that until I leave this earth.
Backing up to a previous question, you don't know what it would take to convince you that a God does exist. Presumably something beyond the natural, that would have to be proven to be beyond the natural. if that happened, if that occurred, would you want to worship this god just for existing? And I think I know the answer, but what more would it take?
To have my allegiance?
Yes.
I think I would have to have a very serious conversation with this individual and ask where they've been and why they have allowed all the atrocities on the earth to have occurred. Not just during my lifetime, but since the beginning of recorded history. But honestly, I think even still, I would have a difficult time not questioning, is this a religious direction that I need to take, or is this some type of alien that is 100 times bigger than me, and their race exists on a very large planet light years away? Is this a new code that's been written into the simulation? So I don't, even then, I don't know if it would prove to me that this was a one and only God, and if they would deserve my bowing and praying to them.
So, I'm sorry I missed part of your answer. You there?
I think I would have to be on the shadow.
You'd have to have a good answer, I think is what you said.
Well, it would need to rule out all other possibilities for me. I would need proof that this was not an alien being. I would need proof that I don't actually live in a simulation. And whoever it is that's running Roller Coaster Tycoon isn't just messing with me. So yeah, I would need, beyond all proof that this is in fact a religious event as opposed to anything else.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. What a callback.
That was a solid pull.
All right, I don't know who else is old enough to know that one. That's a great game. What if it was that? What if it was a simulation that you were an NPC of, and it just wanted you to pay it some respect for coding you into existence?
Quite honestly, my mind immediately goes to feeling very guilty for all the times that I have left my own video game characters just idling. But on a more serious note, I guess I would just be cool with it because, kind of like I previously touched on, whether it is a simulation or a cosmic accident or aliens or a god, none of those should have any control over whether or not I try to be a good person and to show up for those in my life. So I guess even on a grander scale than somebody who's running a simulation, if I did meet God, I honestly think my takeaway would be, hey, thank you for the conversation. I'm going to continue going about my life in the most benevolent way that I can, because I myself don't need